Our first recipient is Michael Rains. Michael graduated with a degree in 1968 in forestry management and in 1971 with a degree in watershed management. When I think about Michael, the first thing that comes to my mind isn't his amazing career with the U.S. Forest Service, it's a phone call. Last December, after Forever Humboldt had eliminated dues, he contacted the alumni office, and I happened to be the new director, so I answered the phone. He said he needed to pay his alumni dues because he hadn't received a bill from us in a while. I thought, here's a guy who deeply cares about Humboldt and has an impressive loyalty to his alma mater that he's calling me so I can send him a bill. Michael's a widely respected leader in linking environmental health with community stability. Michael has led a career that has spanned nearly half a century with the U.S. Forest Service. He started very young. He rose through the ranks to become a deputy chief after starting his career as a wildland firefighter in the 60s. And in 2012, he won the Presidential Rank Award, which honors high-performing federal employees for extraordinary accomplishment. But to Michael, his work in natural resources management was more than a job. It gave him a chance to improve lives. As an internationally recognized expert in urban and community forestry, he was the lead executive for a project designed to revitalize urban waters. Michael designed and implemented the Living Memorials Project, a national endeavor that draws on the power of trees to commemorate victims of 9/11. The Department of Agriculture recognized his commitment to women's equality in 1992. He is a recognized leader in environmental literacy as well. Michael retired from the U.S. Forest Service in 2016, and he now teaches math and science to middle school students in Pennsylvania. And he tells me that he actually chooses middle school. He also remains a registered professional forester in California. Michael.
One of the things I've done in my career is I never have notes, but I decided that I didn't want to mess this up, so I'm gonna show some notes here. I'm really just completely humbled and honored by this. It's when a group told me they may nominate me, I said okay, and then I didn't hear anything forever. So I was really glad that they acknowledged that, and then Vanessa called me and said, I have some good news. And I sort of almost forgot. And then it was like amazing. So that was a really great surprise. I came to Humboldt State almost by chance. My mom and dad were classic Depression era people. If my dad would have come from Oklahoma, it would have been the classic Grapes of Wrath. He was born and raised in Bible Hill, Tennessee, and that was about the only difference. Came up through Bakersfield, we settled in East LA, and he was always poor, even when he wasn't poor. And if you don't know what I mean, people like that, they just always thought about being poor. Now, we weren't too far from that. And so I didn't think I was going to be able to go to college. I remember this one day I said, Dad, I think would like to go to college. He said, that's a good idea. And that was the end of that discussion. And so I owe a great deal of debt to the California Division of Forestry at the time. up in Mount Danaher and the Forest Service for helping me find my way to Humboldt State, which was pretty amazing. And when I got here, it was during the Vietnam era, right in the middle of it, and it was unparalleled growth here at the university. It was a little less than 2,500 students at the time, and then it just busted at the seams, and things like unrest and involvement and free speech and Creedence Clearwater Revival, and it was great. It was amazing. Why did I come to Humboldt State? It was funny. Some of you have heard this story, but we had moved up from Los Angeles, and my mom had applied for unemployment compensation. And luck would have it, she got a call and said, "We have a job, and if you don't take it, you're not getting your unemployment check." So she said, "I'll take it." And it was the secretary for the forest supervisor on the El Dorado National Forest in Placerville. And the supervisor was a fellow named Doug Leitz, a grand gentleman. And in fact, she was griping so much to him that he said, "All right, what's going on?" And at that time, I was a junior in high school, my summer. And at that time, you could, if you were 17, you could work for CDF. And so Leitz got me a job at Mount Danaher, and it was a $255.15 check a month that saved me. So I owe a lot to CDF and Doug Leitz, that's for sure. When I had a great career, I loved it. When asked about the Forest Service, I always said three things. I said, I love being employed, one. Number two, it's an honor to work for the Department of Agriculture. And number three, I had the pleasure of working for the greatest organization in the world for 48 years. And it was, not many people can probably say that, but I really had a good time with it. I have had a good life, and I owe most all of it to Humboldt State. I wanted to tell the president, you have a wonderful school here. Just in this day that I was here, I was listening and talking to students, and I said to myself, they're better than when I was here. And what I meant by that was they seem to have a better feel for a wider range of issues, and it really shows up. And so whatever you're doing, it's pretty magnificent. I was in forestry, and I was way over there and pretty insulated. But even though I wasn't involved in the world issues like I see and hear the students today, so I think that's pretty fabulous. I'd like to give a couple thanks to some of my teachers that were here, and most of them are passed away by now, so it shows you. So somebody asked me how old I was. I said I'll be 70 my next birthday, and so they're long gone. Rudolph Becking, yeah, he was something. I had Jerry Partain, Dick Keener, Dale Thornburg, and Dean Freeland. I had others, but those especially, and I wasn't their best student. That's for sure. I'd like to tell you that I had a 3.9 grade point average, but that would be a bad lie. But they did teach me how to think, and I got better at it, thinking, and that was nice. That was nice. I also want to thank the hospitality. A lot of people helped me. And helped us during this day, but Vanessa and Stephanie, especially, and I know I'm leaving some people out, but I've worked in public service my whole life, and I've never seen public servants that good. And I thought, wow, boy, if I had them working for me, we were really good, but we'd have been really great. So thank you. I want to say also thanks to all the awardees and especially the distinguished alumni. this is pretty nice to be a part of you. And I want you both to, Ken and Kelly, to recognize, and I know you do, your psychological size. It's huge. And when you say something and when you talk and when you do anything, people are watching us, and we got to let them catch us doing something good. It's really important. So don't forget your psychological size. It's I worked for 9 chiefs in the Forest Service in my career, and I had one chief. I was talking to him, and we still call the leader of the Forest Service the chief, and seems kind of archaic, but anyway, I said, when you talk, policy comes out of your mouth, and he says, I don't mean it to be, and I said, I believe you believe that. But please know your psychological size, and when you talk, policy comes out of your mouth. Now, there's some things going on in this world today that we have to give that reminder to a little bit. People don't recognize their psychological size, and when they say an armada is heading towards North Korea, an armada is a pretty big outfit, and especially when it's not going there. I probably shouldn't have said that. I'm sorry. Back in Pennsylvania, I'm a school teacher. Somebody said, "Are you certified?" And I said, "Am I like a real teacher?" And I said, "Yeah, like a real teacher." I said, "You must be kind of committed to that." And I said, "Well, I started in 2003. I took my first class, and lots of stuff, and did my Forest Service let me go and do my student teaching. 14 weeks. Let me go, and they brought me back. It was pretty cool. And in 2012, I finished. So it only took me 9 years to get all my stuff together. And but it was fun. And so typically on Wednesday and Friday now, I teach middle school kids. I like them. I could teach high school, but I like middle school kids in math and science. And when I love this quote. I learned it a long time ago when I was doing my student teaching, and I want to read it to you. It's by William Sanders, who's an educator in his own right from Tennessee, and he said, and it goes like this: children's progress is severely retarded by a succession of weak teachers and marvelously advanced by a succession of excellent teachers. And what I want to say now is perhaps this will allow me a shout out to the faculty members that I mentioned and the distinguished faculty that I see here, that you were nice enough to advance a kid from East LA and give me a chance. And I appreciate it, and I'll be forever grateful. So thank you.